Hi, it's been a little bit since I uploaded, but I'd been dedicating all of my time to speedrunning until I got a sub 20 run, and I would upload that, and I definitely got it. I've streamed all my speedruns on my Twitch for the past few weeks at several hours at a time, so if you want to check that out, you can, and this video is just going to be me analyzing the run. And if you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe because we're like on the verge of 100,000 subs, which is huge and would be an amazing start to the new year. So my spawn's pretty mediocre, and it's actually kind of below average because even though it is a village, it's by a mountain, and mountains make traveling just a complete pain, and they don't really generate anything useful. But because of lava dowsing, it makes playing through pretty much any village viable, and I'll get to how that works in a second, but for now, I'm just punching 4 logs to get my tools and everything. My main concern whenever exiting a village is having enough iron for an iron pickaxe outside of a bucket, because killing the golem will always give you enough iron for a bucket, but will never give you enough iron for a pickaxe, so you'll need to trade, or you can look for a blast furnace in one of the village houses and smelt iron that way. When you trade, you need about 3 emeralds so you can buy a bucket from the fisherman, because if you buy a bucket of cod from the fisherman, you have a bucket, and if you get the iron from a golem, then you have enough for a pickaxe too. This village actually didn't have a blast furnace in it, so I wasn't able to just mine iron and smelt it, which I would have preferred because I don't like trading. It's very tedious. Villager AI is atrocious and they always trade the wrong thing. But the importance of the iron pickaxe is what keeps me going because you need the iron pickaxe to do a successful hypermodern run, which is the type of run that I've done here and I can explain later in the video. So I continue my rampage of stealing beds from villagers' houses, and you may have noticed that I took a lot of logs from that one villager's house, and that's just because having wood on your person is really nice, and luckily enough, this chest right here had the emeralds I needed, so I didn't actually have to trade with a farmer to get my emeralds, because that's usually how you have to get your emeralds, is you trade about 60 wheat to a farmer, and you get 3, and then you trade to a fisherman, but I just found 4 in the chest, so that saved a lot of time. Right now I'm stacking up on hay bales because hay bales are the most broken food source in speedrunning. They're so easy to get and they give you 3 bread each bale. I usually get around 8 to 10 hay bales even though you don't need that many, especially if you're going for like a really good run. If the run takes less than 20 minutes, you don't need like 30 bread, right? Anyways, you may have noticed that I placed a barrel before I went and killed the golem, and that's because villagers are randomly chosen for job blocks, and instead of choosing the closest villager to that barrel, it chooses a random villager to that barrel, and that wastes a lot of time. So I decided instead of waiting for the villager, I'm just going to kill the golem while I wait for the villager. And all that's really left to do in this village is to stack up on a few more beds, since now we already have iron for a pickaxe, we have a bucket, plenty of food. The only thing left to do is get about, for me, a comfortable number is 6 beds whenever one cycling the dragon. So I throw out that useless poppy and make my way to find some lava. I jump over to this gravel patch over here to get some flint for flint and steel, and I get it for my first try, which isn't a major time save, but damn is it satisfying to get it your first try. And now with the extra iron, I craft my pickaxe and my flint and steel, and we're ready to go, which is a really good time because we're only at 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and especially for trading too, that's a really good time to get out of a village. So, lava dowsing. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know if you dig near like a surface cave and straight down, it pretty much always leads to lava near Y11, somewhere around there. I can't be sure of that, but I tested in spectator mode and it worked like 9 out of 10 times. So I was looking for a cave I could dig straight down with, and I couldn't find one at the moment. I ran for quite a while. Now, of course, if I find a lava pool, I'm still gonna go for it. Going for a cave isn't the only thing I'm focused on, even though I kind of made it sound that way, but I didn't see a lava pool, but I definitely heard one. If you saw there in my subtitles, I heard right down to my left was a lava pool just beneath the dirt, which is something I haven't done in a long time. It's been a long time since I actually dug up and heard a lava pool, but I decided to roll with it anyway. We were still at pretty good time. It seemed I was about to get a sub 4 nether, which is pretty average, but still something really nice to have. I didn't pour any lava on myself, I didn't place the lava anywhere incorrect, everything was fine, so I placed my water, my lava, everything, lit the portal, and we're good to go. I actually changed my settings before I go into the nether because Quake Pro and turning down the render distance is like optimal or whatever, so I did that beforehand, and I spawned in a pretty average looking nether. I saw a warped forest, so I decided to go the other way and ended up in a waste biome, which I much more prefer, and to my right, I don't know if you can see that, but I spotted a fortress thanks to my FOV being so high, and right now I'm trying to get the quadrant of the fortress, and I find out that it's positive negative. Only a fortress or a bastion can spawn in each quadrant, and since I already knew that that quadrant was occupied by a fortress, I decided to go negative negative, which is the next quadrant right next to the fortress, hoping to find a bastion. And thanks to Quake Pro again, I spot a Bastion to my left, which is huge because having a Bastion and Fortress this close together is already insane pace. It's insane pace because what I'm doing right now is called the Hyper-Modern strategy, and I promised to describe that earlier. And Hyper-Modern is getting an iron pickaxe as fast as you can and getting it to the nether with that iron pickaxe. And what you want to do right after is, first you look for a Bastion, so that's why I didn't go for the Fortress, is because I wanted to find a Bastion. The Bastion will give you pearls, obsidian, and fire resistance, which are much more important to have before going into the Fortress, so I headed straight to the Bastion to go get that. From a distance, I wasn't able to identify what type of Bastion it was, but since I got closer, I figured out it was a treasure room, which is huge, because treasure rooms and bridges are probably the best type of Bastions as long as you know how to route them. Right now, I'm just trying to travel over to the Bastion, which doesn't actually take me that long, because again, of how close these two structures are together and to my spawn, that is major, because I know one of the biggest killers of my hypermodern speedruns is the amount of travel time it takes to get to each structure, and you don't really notice until after the run. So the fact that I got these so close to spawn and together is like, that got my heart going. Anyway, since this was a treasure room, the first thing I did was went up to the very, very top, because that's where all the gold blocks are, and this little staircase right here is very broken because only the player can really get past it and all the piglins spawn under it. So you're free to pretty much mine all the gold inside the walls and trap them all in that little pit right there, and I do just that. I spam some gold at him. I don't know what happened to my pickaxe. I thought I dropped it with the gold somehow. So I was considering getting into that pit by breaking the netherrack, and for some reason that was the thing that retrieved my pickaxe, and Gash just shoots me for no reason, so that's cool. I continue looking through the walls for more gold, since they generate on the middle and corners of each room, and I find one more block. Turn it into gold bars, throw them it, and the next thing I do is I actually dig down in one of the corners, because once you do that, you'll find another gold block and also the treasure room beneath, which the chests are extremely important because the chest will likely have obsidian, and getting obsidian inside of chests is very much a time save. I do find pig step though, which is more important. You can get obsidian from trading with piglins, but it takes a lot of gold and a lot of time. I decide to dig to the other treasure room and it's filled with piglins, so I take the safer route after handing them some gold, and I go to these piglins, take their stuff real quick, and sort my inventory out. A lot of runners like to split up their pearls because most likely you're going to get more than 2 stacks worth of pearls in a trading session, and that just automatically sorts them out so you don't have to drop items and go through a mosh pit of items and all that. So I go to the next room because there are 2 rooms that have the exact same strategy with the gold in the walls. So I just do it all over again, trade them gold, and I trap them in with the crying obsidian that they traded me and continue mining gold. Right now, there are 2 batches of piglins trading gold at the same time, which is what makes treasure rooms so quick, because it evenly splits up the gold just kind of on the structure by itself. I picked up some more pearls there, which is good, and I dug down here to look for the next set of chests and also get a gold block. This guy was pretty mad at me, and then he just stopped being mad at me, so that's cool. I was a little bit shocked, but I decided to open the chest, got the rest of my obsidian, which is great. Took iron for some reason, which I didn't need, but I took it because I don't know. So right now I had everything I actually needed, and I'm just clearing out my inventory by putting all my garbage into their chest. I have over a stack of pearls to travel around. I have my fire resistance, which I drink, and I remembered that the fortress was actually east, so I stacked up my pearls and decided to haul ass. I switched my blocks quickly because I threw a pearl, and I have a very good habit of every time I throw a pearl I spam blocks below me because I don't know if I'm going to hit a wall and then fall to my death, and I wasn't willing to take any risks here for how good the seed was. Looking to my sides right now, I can't just yet spot the fortress, but coming over this hill I see one of the legs, so I decide to get my pearls, throw them to a very safe location, and we're already in the fortress, only 8.5 minutes in after looting the bastion. The fortress was going into a basalt delta, which doesn't really matter because magma cubes are basically harmless, even the big ones. They're more just annoying and get in your way. I was considering throwing a pearl to travel faster, but then I noticed we were coming up on a hallway, so I went down it, killed that magma cube. It was the first thing I killed, so I got an epic achievement. And we're already in the meat in the fortress, and I see the spawner over there to my left. So I ate some bread to heal up. Even though I have fire resistance, I wanted to consume a loaf to make sure that my health was full, just in case the blaze melee attacked me, because blazes have really stupid melee attacks and they can reach you from really far for some reason. Anyways, the first spawn was really good, considering I hadn't even cleared out the spawner. 4 blazes spawned and got me a few rods right off the bat. And it was a really good call leaving the Bastion with only 1 fire resistance because usually I go with 2, but since I knew that the fortress was super close, I decided to rush it and go with just 1. I seemed to be knocking a lot of the blazes outside of the spawner area, and that was really worrying me because I didn't want the rods to drop off into the edge like that one almost did, but luckily I picked it up. I killed one more blaze, didn't drop a rod. I decided to check my coordinates so I could get a good blind travel because in the nether you want to blind travel about 215 blocks to get close to the stronghold. And my coordinates were a little bit far out, but they still heavily favored a good blind travel and they were in the fortress, so that was another huge time save. Now I clear out my inventory a bit more and decide to actually start clearing out the spawner. Even though we got really good spawns, it's much smarter to just clear out the spawner as soon as possible like I didn't do in the beginning, so that probably would have helped. Either way, I got a lot more blaze spawns. I pushed that guy with my body because I'm bad. I got a 5th rod. He's near the edge. I try to, like, punch him towards the other fortress, and I was about to go walk over, but I made the smart choice and just decided to wait for the next spawn because I didn't want a blaze to spawn on me and then knock me off. So I'm safe for now. I eat another piece of bread, so I'm back to full health. I continue clearing out the spawner because I cannot waste any time right now. I'm already shaking quite a bit. You can't really see it, but I'm shaking. I got another spawn. I killed the first blaze, got a rod, and killed the second blaze and got my 7th rod, which is extremely lucky. I make my mad dash down the fortress so I can get down to better coordinates to blind travel at, and I'm still a bit farther out and I decide to build my portal anyways, and I've found that usually traveling a little bit farther than you think you need to is sometimes safer. Or maybe I've just gotten lucky those few times. But anyways, I build my portal, light it, and we exit the nether at 11 minutes, which is insane. I come out of the portal and things are already super promising. Considering I'm in an ocean biome, even though it's not the best ocean biome, I have very high chances of getting a straight shot to the stronghold and seeing it exposed. But I see the eye go away from the ocean, and then I see it leads to more ocean, and it's actually much deeper ocean. Luckily I had wood to spare for a boat. Having that wood to spare that I got at the beginning from the villager's house is the only reason this run even exists. So yeah, be sure to get some extra wood in your runs. Looking at my coordinates, it's heavily favoring my X value, which is already really high, and my Z value is going down a bit, which means I am pretty much right on my way to the stronghold, but I don't see it yet, and I'm getting kind of worried because strongholds could generate deep enough to where I couldn't even see it under this entire ocean that I'm at just yet, but I see that the ocean gets to a deeper biome, if you see there in the distance. And then I see it! There's a sunken ship below me, incredible. Just kidding, look in the distance, there's the stronghold. Nice and exposed. I don't see any light coming off of the exposed rooms, which means the portal room wasn't actually exposed, which is very disappointing because if you see later in the run, if we got an exposed portal room, we might have even had world record, like, no cap. And I feel my heart and nerves kicking in because we're getting a sub 13 stronghold enter, which is, again, like I said, world record pace. I think the large room I see right in front of the stronghold is the library, so what I actually tried doing before I dig into that is I boat around the island to see if there's any more exposed rooms, like the portal room for example. I look and there is unfortunately nothing, so I get out of my boat, break the boat, and just go down. I actually checked my inventory for doors to break the stone bricks quicker, didn't have any, so I just decided to wing it. Doesn't really matter, probably would have saved like 0.2 seconds, who cares. The next thing I do is the backwards door strategy, because if you take all the backwards doors in a stronghold, it'll eventually lead you to the start of the stronghold, and for some reason I never thought of that myself. I learned that from Coriway actually. And the reason you want to get to the start of the stronghold is because the portal room always generates about 5 to 9 rooms away from the start in any direction. So I still haven't made it to the start of the stronghold. I had to fend off a skeleton for a second. I actually blocked myself off, even though I had 6 hearts. I was playing it as safe as I could possibly be. Ate some bread, broke my way through, was still trying to find the start. And this spiral staircase right here is how all strongholds start, and that's where all the Eyes of Ender lead to. They don't lead to the portal room, they lead to that starter staircase. And from that starter staircase, you can find the portal room yourself. I chose right as my direction to go look for the portal room. I find a library, not useful. Find a dead end, not useful either. I checked the last directions I possibly could go, down another spiral staircase. I ignore that chest because I really don't need more pearls or food or iron pants, I don't know. And I've reached a dead end, which means I've gone through every single possible direction that I could go on the right side, and that whittles it down to only 2 other directions I could go. So I come back to the starter room, and I decide to go left. I find nothing. I go back to where I actually came from, which is the middle staircase. I look around to make sure there's no other rooms that could possibly be hidden. And I find out that I pretty much wasted all of my time running around in a huge circle because I find the portal room right here, which was like right next to where I came in from. I lit that creeper so it would explode outside, ate some bread, and filled the portal. Usually I fill the portal by running along the frames, but I decided to just go in the lava for some reason. I don't know what was going through my head. Luckily I had some pearls to spare from the bastion, threw it, started spamming blocks because that's, again, my good habit. Turned on my hitboxes, and usually I would go up the obsidian tower first before I placed the obsidian, but I wanted to be like ultra safe, so I placed the obsidian and then ran over to the tower. Awkwardly started sorting my inventory, don't worry about it. I didn't really know what to get rid of at the moment or what could be important. I definitely kept pick step because I knew that was important. I got my pearls out, got my blocks out. I still needed to bring a water bucket out, so I did that. And my water didn't function because for some reason a simple bucket doesn't work in Minecraft, I don't know. For a second I thought it was towering up already, which means it was going to perch at any second, but it wasn't, so I continued watering up. But it wasn't going to be long anyways before the dragon started towering before I even noticed, so I finished watering up with my weirdly glitchy bucket. The dragon was pretty close to me, picked up my water, and my entire hotbar was already set. I had my pearls ready for whenever it perched, and right as I look up, I see that the dragon was actually towering that whole time, so I get my bed out, and right as I get my bed out, it perches, so I threw my pearl pretty hastily. I overshot it a little bit and landed on the obsidian, but it doesn't really matter. The dragon came down and I pulled off a 5 bed, which is really difficult for me, but luckily enough, I didn't have to use all 6 beds or even more, and there we go. There's my record. At the time of recording this puts me in 4th place, assuming that nobody else in the speedrunning queue has a record higher than mine. And looking back at it, I think the biggest setback in my speedrun was the stronghold navigation, because that's the only thing keeping me from sub 15 or more. I hope this makes up for my lack of uploads in the past 2 weeks, and I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. We're on the verge of 100,000 subs, so this would be the best start to the new year. And I want to shout out a lot of the speedrun streamers who inspired me and taught me how to be good at the game. Dowsing, Real Benix, and Nerdy. Thanks for being good at the game so I don't have to be. Anyways, thanks for watching, Happy New Year, subscribe!